All right, buckle up, everyone, because we've got some seriously big news in the world of open source AI.
Big news is right.
This new model, DeepSeek R1, is making huge waves.
Yeah, and it's not just hype.
People are saying it could be a total game changer.
Well, what's really got people talking is that DeepSeek R1 is performing on par with ChatGPT.
Oh, wow.
And in some areas, it's even surpassing it.
I mean, that's incredible, right? We're talking about a model that can code, reason through complex problems.
Yeah.
And handle some serious math.
And the best part, it's open source.
So anyone can use it.
Exactly. Anyone can use it, modify it, build on it.
That's a game changer for sure.
Imagine what startups, researchers, even
Yeah.
individual developers could do with this kind of power at their fingertips.
Okay, so let's break down DeepSeek R1 a little. So
Yeah.
you give us the rundown on what makes it so special.
Well, for starters, you can think of DeepSeek R1 as the open source equivalent of ChatGPT.
So like same capabilities.
Same level of performance, but without the restrictions of a proprietary model.
It's not locked behind some company's paywall.
Exactly. And it's got a really permissive license,
Oh, right.
the MIT license, which means you can even use it commercially, even distill it down into smaller, specialized versions.
Like a customized version of ChatGPT that you could use for your own projects.
Exactly. And those distilled versions, they're doing some pretty amazing things too.
Okay, like what?
Well, some of these smaller models are even outperforming Google's Gemini Pro in certain tasks, which is wild when you consider the size difference.
Hold on. Smaller models are beating out Gemini Pro. What kind of tasks are we talking about here?
Well, for one, we're seeing some impressive results on coding benchmarks.
Like head-to-head with Gemini Pro.
Yep, there's this one benchmark where their 1.5 billion parameter model, which is pretty tiny compared to Gemini Pro,
Yeah.
actually scores higher, which is kind of mind-blowing.
Okay, so what's the secret to DeepSeek R1's power? What makes it tick?
One of the biggest things is their use of reinforcement learning. Yeah, so instead of just feeding the model tons of data, it actually learns by doing, kind of like an apprentice.
So it's not just memorizing, it's actually learning.
Right. It tries to solve a problem, gets feedback, and then adjusts its approach based on that feedback.
So it's constantly improving itself.
Exactly. And that's a big deal because it means you don't need these massive amounts of labeled data, which is usually a huge bottleneck for AI development.
Right.
And, even big names in AI are taking notice.
Yeah.
Dr. Jim Fan, who's a leading AI researcher, even said DeepSeek is like keeping the original mission of OpenAI alive, making powerful AI accessible to everyone.
Wow. That's high praise.
It is.
But let's get down to brass tacks.
Sure.
What can DeepSeek R1 actually do?
So one of the most impressive examples I've seen is its ability to actually build a functional web application.
Oh, hold on. Like a real web app?
Yep. Like they gave it the instructions, it used an external API,
Okay.
and boom, it generated all the code for both the front end and the back end.
So not just like little snippets of code, but like a whole app that can actually interact with other services.
Exactly. And that's not all.
What else?
It can also do some pretty amazing things with reasoning. Like there's this example where they had it create a visual tutorial for the Pythagorean theorem.
The Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah, using the software called Manim.
Oh, wow.
And it actually managed to translate this abstract mathematical concept into a clear visual representation.
It's like having a coding partner and a math tutor all rolled into one.
Pretty much.
This is some seriously cool stuff.
It is.
But how much can it really think for itself?
Yeah.
Like, can it reason critically beyond just, following instructions?
That's the really interesting part.
Okay.
They put DeepSeek R1 through a bunch of tests to see if it would just rely on memorized data or if it could actually reason through problems.
Okay.
One of these tests involved modified versions of classic thought experiments like the trolley problem,
Oh, interesting.
the Monty Hall problem, even Schrodinger's cat.
Whoa, that's getting deep.
Yeah, and they added these little twists to the scenarios
Okay.
just to see if the model could go beyond pattern recognition and really think critically.
So they gave it some real brain teasers.
Yeah,
How to do.
aced them.
Really?
And the really fascinating part is you can actually see its thought process in the output.
Like it's explaining how it's arriving at its answers.
Yeah, so for example, in the modified trolley problem, the 5 people on the track are already dead, which is different from the standard scenario.
Oh, right.
And most AI models would just default to sacrifice 1 to save 5 without really considering the context.
Just following the rule.
Right. But DeepSeek R1, it picked up on that detail and realized that diverting the trolley wouldn't actually save any lives.
So it understood the nuance of the situation?
Yeah, it literally said, wait, the 5 people are already dead.
Whoa, it's like it had an aha moment.
Exactly, and that's the kind of reasoning ability that's really setting DeepSeek R1 apart.
It's thinking for itself.
In a way.
This is honestly blowing my mind.
Yeah, it's really pushing the boundaries.
I mean, it feels like DeepSeek R1 is really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with open source AI.
It definitely is.
And we're only just beginning to explore its potential.
Oh yeah, we're just scratching the surface here.
Well, I, for one, am totally hooked.
Me too.
We'll have to dive even deeper into DeepSeek R1 after a quick break, so don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back. So it's pretty amazing what DeepSeek R1 can do.
Yeah, it's seriously impressive stuff.
But before we get too carried away,
Right.
it's important to remember that it's still a tool, right?
Not a magic bullet.
Exactly. Like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
It all depends on the person using it,
Right. And that's where the open source part really comes in.
because anyone can access it and modify it.
Exactly. The community can come together and help shape its development, make sure it's being used responsibly.
That's a really important point, I think, that community aspect,
Yeah.
especially with something as powerful as AI. And speaking of community, one of the things that's really struck me about DeepSeek R1 is how accessible it is.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You don't need to be like a tech genius to use it.
Nope. The team behind it has done a great job making it user-friendly.
Okay.
They've even got this simple web interface where you can interact with the model directly.
Really? Like a website?
Yeah, it's chat.deepseek.com.
Wait, so I could go to that website right now and start playing around with DeepSeek R1?
Yep, that's how easy it is.
No coding required.
No coding required.
That's awesome.
And if you are a developer who wants to get more hands-on,
Yeah.
they've got an API too.
Oh, right.
So you can integrate it into your own applications.
And it's not just one model either, right?
Nope, they've got a whole family of models,
Oh, that's right.
including those smaller distilled versions we talked about earlier.
Those are the ones that are outperforming Gemini Pro in some cases.
Yep, that was a really smart move.
It makes the technology so much more accessible, right?
Totally. Not everyone has the resources to run a massive 70 billion parameter model.
Definitely not.
But with these distilled versions, you can get impressive performance even on a laptop.
So it's like they've got different sizes to fit different needs.
Exactly. Different needs, different budgets.
Makes sense.
And that kind of flexibility, that's a game changer.
Yeah, especially for people who might be working with limited resources.
Absolutely.
I'll be honest, I'm still a little intimidated by the technical side of things.
I get it.
Like, do I need to be a coding whiz to really use DeepSeek R1?
Not at all.
Okay.
Remember that user-friendly web interface?
Yeah, chat.deepseek.com.
It's designed for everyone, even if you've never written a line of code in your life.
So I can just type in what I want and the model will just do it.
Pretty much you can type in your request, and the model will generate code, text, you name it.
No coding required.
Nope.
That's reassuring, I have to say.
But if you do want to dive deeper and get your hands dirty with the code,
Yeah.
they've got tons of resources, like really good documentation, tutorials, even sample projects to help you get started.
So they've really thought about the user experience.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It sounds like they're on a mission to make AI accessible for everyone.
I think that's a big part of it, democratizing access to these powerful tools.
Yeah, it shouldn't be just for the tech elite.
Exactly.
Who knows what kind of amazing things people will create when they have access to tools like this.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and here's another cool thing.
What's that?
DeepSeek R1 is still under development.
Yeah, they're constantly improving it.
They're adding new features, exploring new research avenues.
It's a living, breathing project.
So what we're seeing now is really just the beginning.
Absolutely. They've already hinted at some pretty wild things they're working on, like even more powerful models
Oh, wow.
and even more innovative training techniques.
It's going to be fascinating to see where this goes.
Yeah, the next few years are going to be really exciting.
You know, earlier we touched on the importance of the community in shaping the development of DeepSeek R1.
Oh, yeah. That's crucial.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. So one of the beautiful things about open source is that it really fosters the sense of collaboration and shared responsibility.
Okay.
Because the model is open weight, anyone can access the underlying code, which means anyone can contribute to making it better.
So it's not just about using the model, it's about contributing to its evolution.
Exactly. People can help identify and address potential issues, report bugs, suggest improvements, even contribute their own code.
It becomes a collective effort.
Yeah, it's a community project.
That's what I love about open source. It's that power of the community that really drives innovation.
Couldn't agree more.
And in the case of DeepSeek R1, that collective effort could lead to some truly groundbreaking advancements in AI.
I think so too.
This has been an amazing deep dive so far.
It has.
We've covered so much ground, from the technical details to the potential impact on society.
It's a big topic.
It is, and it's exciting.
Definitely.
So what else is there to explore about DeepSeek R1?
Well, I think it's time we move from the theoretical to the practical.
Okay.
Let's take a look at some real-world examples of how people are already using DeepSeek R1 to do some pretty incredible things.
I'm all ears. Let's jump into those examples.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so let's get into these real-world examples you mentioned.
All right, so one area where DeepSeek R1 is already making a big impact is education.
Education, interesting.
Yeah, teachers are using it to create interactive learning materials,
Okay.
personalize lesson plans, even automate grading.
Wow. It's like having a personalized AI assistant for every student.
It kind of is.
So what are some specific ways teachers are using it in the classroom?
So imagine a history teacher
Okay.
who wants to make a lesson about ancient Rome more engaging.
Yeah.
They could use DeepSeek R1 to generate a virtual tour of the Colosseum, complete with 3D models and historical information.
That'd be amazing.
Or even a chatbot that lets students interview a Roman soldier.
That's so cool. It would really bring history to life.
Exactly. And with personalized lesson plans,
Yeah.
DeepSeek R1 could help teachers cater to each student's individual learning style.
So it could identify areas where a student is struggling
Right.
and then suggest additional exercises or resources.
It's like having a tutor who knows each student's strengths and weaknesses.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Sounds like DeepSeek R1 has the potential to really revolutionize education.
I think so.
But what about other fields? Beyond education, where else are we seeing the impact of DeepSeek R1?
It's also making a big splash in research.
Okay.
Scientists are using it to analyze massive data sets, generate hypotheses,
Okay.
even help with writing scientific papers.
So it's not replacing human researchers, but it's kind of augmenting their capabilities.
Exactly. It can handle a lot of the tedious, time-consuming tasks,
Yeah.
which frees up the researchers to focus on the more creative and strategic aspects of their work.
It's like a superpowered research assistant.
Pretty much.
This is all so fascinating. What other exciting applications have you come across?
One that really caught my eye is in the creative arts.
Oh, like music.
Yeah, musicians and composers are actually using DeepSeek R1 to generate melodies, harmonies,
Whoa.
even entire compositions.
So the AI is like becoming a creative collaborator.
In a sense, yeah, it can provide inspiration, suggest new ideas, and even handle some of the more technical aspects of composition.
That's mind-blowing. So it frees up the artist to focus on the more expressive side of things.
Exactly.
This is all so inspiring. It really feels like DeepSeek R1 is ushering in a new era of AI accessibility and innovation.
I agree.
I can't wait to see what the future holds.
It's going to be exciting, that's for sure.
It does seem like the possibilities are pretty much endless.
They are.
Do you have any final thoughts for our listeners who might be interested in exploring DeepSeek R1 for themselves?
Just dive in and experiment. Don't be afraid to play around with the model.
Yeah.
See what you can create.
You might surprise yourself.
You never know what you might discover.
That's great advice. And remember, the future of AI isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we create together.
We all have a role to play.
So go out there, explore, experiment, and let's see what amazing things we can build with this incredible technology.
Absolutely. Let's shape the future of AI together.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into DeepSeek R1.
I hope you enjoyed it.
It's been an incredible journey, and we hope you found it as fascinating and inspiring as we did.
Until next time.
Stay curious.